I'm Minerva. I'm here today with another episode of Tuesday Talks presented by Abir Pothi. Today we have Debashish Mukherjee with us. He's a mixed media artist based in New Delhi. His art explores an object or a memory that is preserved, celebrated, and neglected. Hi, Debashish. It's so great having you here with us today.
Thanks, Miranda. Pleasure to be here.
What drew you to visual art? Like, was there a moment or an influence which brought you to, pursuing art or becoming an artist?
No, actually not. It's completely by accident. I was growing up in Chhapra, a very small town in Bihar, because my father was in Indian Railways and he was posted there.
Mm.
And, I had no idea that something called fine arts even existed as a formal subject. You know, I did my 10th. Those days, 10th was in school and then 12th was in college, what we call ISC. So I went on to, pursue physics, chemistry, mathematics, proper science. But one thing I was very clear about that I didn't enjoy science. And, from I think the exposure to the larger world was very limited. But then, but I did, know, drawing from very early childhood. I enjoyed that, but not to. I never thought that this would become a career or something. But I just enjoyed that because that is only one thing which would. I was very naughty, so I think my mom said that if I would do some, I would play around this and that, being after somebody's life, she would give me a pen and paper, and then I would kind of sit down and start drawing. So I was like that. Uh, But yeah, then I accidentally, actually, 1990 January, my sister was getting married in Delhi, and I happened to be here. And I was extremely, I was not clear that what I'm going to do in graduation because I was not. I was one thing I was sure that I'm not going to pursue it in science. So I was thinking either English literature because once in literature also was in my father was amazing. He was a storyteller, and I grew up uh, actually in music, literature. These are all part of my daily life. That was one more thing I was kind of very keen. But then my cousin brother, whom I met here in Delhi, I told that in one of the interviews recently also that, he told me, why don't you do fine arts? I said, what is fine arts? He said, well, there is a subject called fine arts where you can only learn how to paint. So certainly it didn't go very well with my family because they wanted me to become an engineer or something like that. So but I was kind of very sure. Then I went to Delhi College of Art. He took me actually, since I remember it was month of January, February, and I met few students. I spoke to a few people, but it's very very different because you don't know what exactly fine arts is also. Then I went to BHU because my mother is from Benares, and I went to BHU, and BHU had one of the world's most beautiful universities. I still think it is, and I discovered there that it was very beautiful next to the museum, and the life was very easy. Then I kind of spent few days, and then realized that okay, this is the subject I'll do. And then same year, I appeared for the entrance, and I cleared it in one shot, yeah, without having any background. I didn't do any course or anything, but just whatever little I knew, I think I ran third in the distinction, yeah, on the chart. Out of Yeah, so it was fun, and then there was no looking back. But it was beautiful. But so art happened to me by accident. Yeah, it's not. I think art had to happen this way, formally. But I think it's something which is inside you, and
Mm.
uh, And now, we see the way the dimension of art is changing. It's not anymore in those, compartments. So music can be a form of art. In the fine arts, visual art, you can use music, drama, theater, so much. So when you introduce me as a mixed media artist, no, it's multidisciplinary. So yeah, it's mixed media is a different thing altogether. So
Mm.
this is how art happened. Tell me.
Nice. That was a great accident, I would say. Happy accidents.
Very.
So, what are you creating right now? Are there any piece that's consuming your thought, or what's going on currently in your studio or in your art practice?
Well, I have a solo coming up. I'm planning to do a solo this year by this year end. My last solo was in 2023, 2023, January. It was an art fair parallel. Uh,
Mm.
I think Abir had covered it. I remember. I don't remember the person's name who came and interviewed me, but yeah, I I think they have it in the archive somewhere. And this year I'm planning maybe December sometime
Okay.
or latest year January. So solo is very draining. It kind of takes a lot of time. And then quite a few group shows actually. One is going on at the moment, NGMA Calcutta. Then the one is going to be in Delhi. One more is going to be in August, Calcutta. So yeah, quite a few group shows. But that I'm not worried about because there are, you give one work or maximum. But the
Hmm.
solo is kind of keeping me busy.
It does take a lot of time and a lot of
A lot of thought,
efforts. Yeah.
lot of thought. And then working with the curator, this and this, a lot of back and forth happens.
Hmm. Just like you said that you are a multidisciplinary artist, how do you connect with different mediums, and which one do you find the most difficult, and which one do you find the most interesting, or you just want to keep working with that medium? Which ones are that?
I think each medium has its own temperament. And really, it what really depends on what I'm dealing with at the moment. Um, so it's not the medium which I decide first and then start. No, it's the subject that decides medium. So I had
Right.
been work. Yeah, so I have been working with textile for very long because in orthodox sense also because I have worked with a lot of weavers in many sectors like in Varanasi, in Orissa, in Rajasthan. So I work with them on a technical basis on project to project.
Hmm.
So, but textile comes naturally because I feel it's very layered. It's actually it's very meditative to weave a textile, and then
Hmm.
I find challenging the set norms of textiles. So in one of my work, I remember called River Song. That was a portrait of my mother.
Hmm.
Uh, I so it was a kind of 40 feet long and by a meter wide fabric, and that was part of the work. So everybody was asking me, "How did you weave it?" It was not woven; it was embroidered. So
Oh.
challenging the yeah, you can embroider a piece of fabric as well, but how you do that, and that's a skill. It's like you don't want to share those like a master your mediums.
Makes
But yeah,
sense.
you can. So I don't mind challenging those, but yeah, it's not the medium. I decide that okay, this time I'm going to work on this. No, even my last solo, which happened in 2023. Called The Whispering Lanes. That was about Benares. It was the
Hmm.
landscapes of Benares, but at night time. Typically, how Benares is at night time. The whole show was very dark, dark in terms of not in real sense, but the way um, it was kind of that was viewed under very low light.
Hmm.
So that had textile, that had wood, that had brick. I work a lot with bricks also. So
Okay.
and textile comes naturally. So I think yeah, it depends really what I'm dealing with. If
Hmm.
and what see inspiration can be anything from a kiss to a bullet. It's very very large
It's
expanse.
a wide
Canvas, yeah,
spectrum.
yeah, it can be anything. It's not that one particular theme or yeah, but primarily I work a lot with displacement has been a recurring subject because
Mhm.
I feel, leaving home at the age of 17, then, and just because my father was in Indian Railways, we moved many cities. So displacement is not only when the partition happens. Displacement it happens when you actually leave a space which you called home, and you know that you can never go back to. So
Hmm.
that's it also has been a part of my practice. But beyond that, yeah, you know how a human behaves, everything, memories. I work a lot with this. This time, the solo which I did for Chennai Photo Biennale, the month of January,
Hmm.
this I was one of the invited artists. Uh, so that was all about memories and how we preserve or neglect. So yeah,
Cool. And while you're working with this, you know, different mediums, um, what inspires you the most? Like that, just like you said, a kiss to a bullet, anything can be an inspiration. But what truly kind of inspires you?
I think. See, as I said that it could be anything actually. I'm not a person who would be working. Okay, now Israel war is going on. Okay, let's paint on Israeli war.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
don't work like that. So anything. So as I said, that displacement has been a one kind of subject uh, which has come to me many a times in very different shapes and forms. And since I work with a lot of museums, like the Calcutta Partition Museum. Partition also has been part of my subject. So there was a very beautiful show which we did. I'm not sure which year. It was 22, I think, at the Calcutta Center of Creativity, the KCC Imami.
Hmm.
There, very nice. So it was all about partitions. So a lot of, I think there were 5 artists who were part of, you know, a small discussion and all, which kind of culminated to a show. So we did that. But yeah, I think if you ask me a particular theme, then no, that's not where I come from. But I think reoccurring subjects which has been in my art practice is one, certainly a displacement has been one.
That makes sense. Um, so when you make, like, when you put up a show and when there are viewers coming to view your shows, do you want the viewer to have their own meaning when they look at your artwork, or do you prefer giving them answers or hints? How does it work? How do you work? How do you what do you think about what when this show is put up and there are people coming? How do you want your artwork to be viewed?
So I prefer to leave space. Certainly, I believe art should be an entry point and not a conclusion.
Hmm.
But and I keep giving one example to a lot of young students and to viewers. Like it's like you or me. We have very different identities. Or somebody's
Hmm.
sister's lover, somebody's daughter. We remain one. You know. So these all dimensions. So I think that is how art should be. But unfortunately, what happens many a times when curators are working, they do define a parameter that,
Yeah.
and some that is why I don't mind calling my works untitled. It's fine if you call it untitled, because
Yeah.
the moment you say portrait of my mother, portrait of my father, then you have already done, you've killed it. So now they think, how is it like this? Then they will ask you silly questions, sometimes very intelligent also. Yeah, but yeah, I know. How is it your mother? I don't see it. It's a piece of fabric. Yeah. So they
Yeah.
get into a discussion which is meaningless. It's like it's like explaining poetry. Poetry is not supposed to be explained. You
Very
know,
true.
and yeah, poetry is one of the most. It's like classical music. If you are talking about Rag Bhairavi, so you don't say in that there is no. It's only sound. There is no word in it. When you start the alap, there is
Yeah.
no there is no wording in it, but it sets the tone correct. How? Because it's the abstract mapping of the mood. So that is how art should be. I think everybody should have their own stories and they should relate to it, and not to have. So I prefer not to give them a definite answer or a title now.
Very, very well, you know, you just put it up so well. I think as an artist, I also go through the same thoughts as you know. I don't like even explaining my artwork. I mean, I don't, that doesn't make sense. When it is on the wall, it has been done. There's no more explaining to it. That's it. As you said that your admission in, like, your art journey was like an accident. It just happened, you know. How do you define your relationship with art? Has it changed over the years? Because you said you very accidentally came into the art world and now you're such a, you've made your place here. How has it changed over the years?
Well, it certainly has. See, I think it has grown quieter. Uh,
Hmm.
Earlier, when you come out of college, then two three things work. Like you have a point to prove. If you're skilled, then you need to show your skills. So and if somebody call, oh, you are intellectually very very different, then you try to prove. No. So with time, what happens, that art is to me very personal, and with time, it's becoming even personal. So it's all about my journey, my stories, and how people relate to it, how my memories are, or how I deal with memories, or So I think it has become much more quieter with time, and more meditative, more. You know, I don't have any point to prove. Believe me, I do art. Uh, just what I feel is right. I do not follow any trend. No, no. Sometimes my whole show is black and white. Sometimes one show is completely white only. So it's not that no. Oh, how? Why are you making it? Somebody did ask me, why are you making white paintings? Nobody wants to keep white paintings in their home. They want all. Everybody wants to add color through painting.
Hmm.
I said that could be great. What you're saying, that could be your perspective, but I don't have to agree to it. I don't have to. I'm not married to you or to your ideas. So
Hmm.
I think it's very personal, and I do with whatever with complete conviction. What I feel is right. What I feel that I'm trying to say, and yeah, if color has to come, it will come. But to me, it's like you as a Minerva, fully decked up makeup, or just plain. So both are you. Yeah, you put
Just
a
different versions. Both are me. It's
version.
just different versions of me. Yeah.
Exactly. So to me, a drawing is what who you are, and then as much color you want to put depends on your how in what moods
What
you are in.
what mood?
What you
The
want to,
essence remains the same.
yeah,
That's
what you want to convey, and if the usage of color is completely based on what you're trying to say,
Hmm.
not because I have the color palette and I have the
Yeah. So.
available. Let's put it. No, I was one very beautiful interview I was listening, uh,
Hmm.
where. It was about, I am a great fan of RD. RD means RD Burman, the music of RD Burman, because I was growing up in that time. RD was the man. And one musician from his band said that
Hmm.
RD knew how to edit, how little to use. It's not that
Yes.
you hired a sitar player, you've hired a flute, a flautist, you've hired a drummer, so you make everybody play. No, if there has been a time that entire song, maybe, I mean, for 3 seconds there is a sitar piece, but that three sitar, this three that 3 second is very very vital and important. So I think, yeah. So to me, how I said that this is how things work.
Yeah, this reminds me of that when I was in my graduation days, our art history professor used to always say that, a fine arts is the only field where your parents would force you to go and pursue it. You know, your
Wouldn't for-
people, sorry?
wouldn't force you, he said.
Yeah. Like how parents generally ask their child to pursue engineering or pursue
No.
doctorate or things like that, but they were like, you all are here because it's your own choice to be here. Nobody has asked you to take an admission in a fine arts college. And I think I had a few friends who were they fought and they took an admission in a fine arts college, because it still is a struggle, I feel, to convince your parents to. pursue fine arts. At least it wasn't for me, but I have come across people for them,
So,
it was.
when I told my father that I want to do fine arts, see, to start with, he wasn't very confident that after learning fine arts, what will I? That was one biggest.
Biggest question.
He second thing, they thought a study should be a job. It takes you to a job oriented. So that was also a question. So since I remember, very funny actually, my father was in railways, as I said, and those days there was steam engines. Huh? So every engine had a number, and um, the engines were decorated. Okay, competition, but which engine from which loco shed is has appeared, stood first, second, third. No, there will be a competition across India.
Hmm.
Painters, there was a permanent painter in every loco shed, and who were brilliant in landscaping and this, and it's like a cinema poster makers. They were not trained artists, but they were brilliant.
Skilled.
So very skilled. No, they were. I remember. I used to stand in front of the cinema hall for hours together just to see how they make a 8 feet curtain. It's not funny, I tell you. And the way their work brushes would move, it's like a magic happening. Everything was in their head, and they were not able to. My father had told me, "So will you become one of those painters who paints?" So I had no answer. But yeah, it was not easy for me. But I'm very, very happy to see when I went this year to Kalabhavan or to JJ, and I saw a lot of people are from very, very, from marginalized, and they are from very humble background, and they are doing fine arts. So out of curiosity, I just ask sometimes that, how supportive your families are. So they say, no, sir, my father wants me to follow my, dream. If I want, because I don't know what else to do. So maybe, it's a problem of what do you call middle class. Either you're in a humble background, then also there is no issue. And if you are rich, then anyway, there is no issue. So the problem of facing issues is a very, very middle class thing.
Can you just give us a tour of what your creative process looks like? Are there any rituals involved in it, or how does from an idea to execution? What's the process?
Well, basically it's a mix of rituals and chaos. It's not premeditative. It's not that I know everything what I'm going to do, but I am pretty clear. See, my practice, I write everything. It's like layouting. It's like a music piece. It's like a scoring. So I write everything. So and then I have a diary which has all the layouts. So then I look at then I let's say I'm working on solo. So I've started writing that this is the subject, this is how it is going to be, this is what I. So then I look at all those you know points, and then I see, okay, what medium is going to fit in, and then uh, how do I execute it? It is going to be embroidered, it is going to be printed, it is going to be silk printed, is it going to be hand painted, or tie dye, so many other things. So and if sculpture is involved, then how, at what level, of what magnitude. So I think it's a quite a long process, but I know what I want, but I don't know the end result how it's going to be. So that is what is going to be most challenging. But yeah, it's fun. But months together I work on in one project.
Since you've been in this field for years now, what is one piece of advice you'd offer to young artists like me who are just starting out, to this visual art space?
I think trust the work, trust your work, and not the noise. It's very noisy. The art world is very noisy. Don't be afraid of trying anything new, but uh, ask many questions. Ask questions to yourself, and that it's very important to understand who you are. And one more thing I would say, that it's important to know what not to do rather than what to do.
What very true.
It's
Yeah.
very, very important. And be deep. one piece of advice, artist, non-artist, everybody, I say, please read. Reading is one habit very, very seriously think it's very important, because how else will you know many? See, there are maybe, if you read Tagore, you come to know about many, many emotions which otherwise you wouldn't have.
Mm.
If you read Kalidas, Meghdut, or if you hear, our Kumar Gandharv, and it's very important to connect with those emotions, because they are inside you, but you can't point it out unless if somebody is opening those doors for you. So I think, don't waste your time on mobile. Please, 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 read. Maybe I just say maybe 10 pages a day, maybe 5 pages a day. Start, but end of 1 month you'll finish one book, and that
Mm.
will forever enrich you. Yeah, I think it's very, very important to remain and not the chaos. I think it's very important to reduce this noisy world, just reduce the noise. So kind of wear a headphone which is not real, but a very metaphorical one, which cuts the noise, and then only you can see yourself who you are.
Thank you so much. Um, whose artwork or whose work inspires you the most? Is it a peer or a master or somebody who's completely out of this visual art space?
See, as I said, that I didn't know much about art before I joined art college. So
Mm.
the process was like, we were taught Indian art, Western art, European art, all kinds. So we uh, studied from Obanendro, Raja Ravi Verma, Bengal school, Indian school, and then of course Van Gogh, Paul Gogh, and all. So uh, Van Gogh really hit me hard. I think just because his way of handling the material, that entire era, all those artists, Paul Gogh, that was the most interesting kind of era of art. Which it's and same time, I love what Nandalal did. I would love what Ramkinkar did. I love what Kejida till very recent did. You would know Kejida well because Baroda has been very, very special for
Mm.
him. And so it's not that one artist. At the same time, I love what Kifa does now at this age also, And
Mm.
but few artists, if you name whom I really love, Ramkinkar Bej would be one from India. Zarina Hashmi, I love her work. I love the way that she dealt with the subject of, once again, very similar to
Displacement.
Displacement, very, very, and she had the way she handled. Vivan Sundaram is one artist I loved his work. Vivanda. And then Balbir Singh Kat was my principal and was one of the amazing artists I ever met. And he was
Mm.
about that student of Balbir Ramkinkar Bej from Shantiniketan. So, it was amazing for me because I was growing up in a very different setup. And then I come to BHU and see this man being a Sardar speaks fluent Bangla and maybe better than me. So yeah, because he studied in Shantiniketan. Shantiniketan does that to you. Either you hate Shantiniketan, you love Shantiniketan. There is no midway. What happens?
Mm.
Yeah, it's like Baroda. It's like any art colleges, even those Banaras. Banaras is a city uh, where it takes few lifetimes to understand Banaras what it is, and Banaras is a way of life. It's no discipline. So I can Banaras became my second home. But what I felt that I wish I was more sincere those days when I was actually in Banaras, because Banaras had so much culture which I was not aware of. It's very strange actually. I don't know whom to blame to. I was growing up in this place called Chhapra.
Mm.
Okay, that's about now I think about 2.5 hours from Patna. I know it's a
Mm.
small town, but historically very, very rich town. Now I came to know. I always knew there is a place called Chiran. People didn't know how to pronounce. Anyway, so it's Chirand. It's Chirand.
Mm. Mm.
Now, much later, when I was doing one of my shows called A Museum Within, was about
Mm.
the historic sites of India. And And then I came to know there is a prehistoric site, a monolithic site in
Okay.
Chapra.
Oh.
Yeah. So the question is, I lived there for 17 years without knowing anything about Iran. Yeah. And when I'm away, I'm in Delhi. I don't have any. I mean, if I go to Chapra now, I'll have to stay in a hotel, find out how. But I believe me, I don't know how to even to because in 1990 I left Chapra, and today we are in Disney. So this show I've been talking about, I was working on 2015, 14, 2014, 15.
Mm.
And then I was while reading about Rajasthan, Haryana, and Gujarat, many sites, and I see this site in Chapra. I said, eh? Am I reading right? I said, yeah, okay, this is from so. Then I came to know they were made a small, very bad museum also because many things came. But I think a lot went to Pattam Museum. I think from there.
Okay.
So yeah, so this way. So now Banaras also, each time I make sure I go every year. And each time I discover something which I hadn't even read about. So local people, they know a lot. They're still, Banaras is a place of scholars, huh? Many scholars.
Mm. Mm.
In the one of the world's biggest university, uh, there are many scholars of Sanskrit, Hindi, literature, engineers also are very, very differently bent. Remember this person who used to teach physics in IIT BHU was the man who was instrumental for Ganga cleaning the entire project. And he was to be a Mahant of the Durga Mandir. Man, a very strange
Oh.
combination. Yeah,
Seriously, yeah.
his name was some Veerbhadra Mishra, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
Uh, Could be wrong, but I don't think, yeah, I think he was Vivan Vish, most probably. This is how things have been. So you need to discover each moment and spend time with yourself. That is one piece of thing I would say to all young artists.
What keeps you busy when you're not creating art? What do you do when?
I think music was my first love. I, so I listen, I sing, and I read. I read a lot. I have a decent sized library. I'm a reader, so I read a lot. I sing, I listen to music. I meet people. I travel a lot. Uh,
Mm.
whenever I get a chance, I travel. And I collect things, memories, I collect textures, I collect found objects, which I use sometimes. I think
Mm.
I do absolutely, and sometimes I do absolutely nothing. I think I've come to understand that doing nothing is also very, very important at times. Also,
Very important.
yeah, yeah. Just in Bangla, there is a word called ladh khawa. So I think it's very important to just do nothing.
That's nice. Uh, Thank you so much, Devashish. It was great having you here, and it was such an insightful conversation with you and knowing about your creative process and everything.
It was good talking to you. Really, pleasure. And I wish you all
Thank
the
you.
best.